The next clip we're going to look at is from Fox and Friends, and might be, at least across the last week or couple of weeks, my favorite clip, my favorite minute and 20 seconds of television that I've seen in a long time, where the attorney of Donald Trump, who is wild, just every segment we see of Alina Habba, so detached from reality, so wacky and dishonest, is sitting with Fox and Friends on their little couch and gets asked about the threat that is posed legally by this most recent indictment from Fani Willis and how this could absolutely spell disaster for Donald Trump. And the reaction from Alina Habba is so strange, and she just kind of crumbles after one follow-up question from Steve Doocy, and I love to see it. Take a look at this.
Now, I've heard from a lot of legal analysts, and they say what is different about this case than the federal cases is Georgia has laws that are specifically tailored to election interference and things like that. Andy McCarthy, a Fox News contributor, and also he wrote an op-ed in the New York Post. He said that the Georgia indictment is the most perilous threat to former President Trump.
Agreed. As I said at the top of the show, Fani Willis is not messing around.
President Trump know that this is a perilous threat?
We do not agree that it is a perilous threat because we actually have inside information. So I love when people...
Before getting to the question that is obvious of what inside information, which that's garbage. She's just making that up. But if you weren't actually concerned about this, then why, as we talked about in the last segment, is Trump melting down to a historic degree?
This is a perilous threat?
We do not agree that it is a perilous threat because we actually have inside information. So I love when people...
What inside information?
Well, the inside information, Steve, and you know, you used to love Trump, but I got to tell you, I mean, this is...
What just happened? We'll come back to that moment.
Something I'm not going to breach, right? I have confidentiality and I have ethics, and I'm going to continue. But I think you need to understand something. When somebody is given a report, and he has reports that show that there was interference, and you could be advised by one lawyer that says...
Yeah, being done by him. He was doing the interference. I will note, by the way, that I was looking at some legal experts' analysis, and they were noting that Georgia has more election interference related laws on the books than some other states. And that is what is part of was assisting and strengthening this case against Trump.
Oh, I don't think so. And you could have another lawyer that says, no, I do think so. And here's some reports. And we know that there were issues in Fulton County, right? We know it's not a question. There was election issues, and the integrity of our election is in question at this very moment.
Yeah, because a guy named Trump and a bunch of his co-conspirators were trying to unlawfully, allegedly, overthrow the democratic process. That was the issue in Fulton County. So good for Fani Willis for trying to get some accountability.
When he says, I want to look into it, I don't trust it, we need to look into it, that's his obligation as a president, okay?
That's not what he did, though, right? He didn't say, let's look into it. He said, let's engage in a conspiracy to, regardless of the facts that we have, actually in opposition to the facts that we have, let's try to overthrow the democratic process, pressure officials to do things that would be against the law, and try to put forward fraudulent slate of electors and try to disenfranchise voters. And that is different than just looking into the questions that you have. But let's go back to this moment when she says, I have inside information, which is why we're not afraid of this case. And Steve Doocy goes, oh, interesting. You brought it up. So what's the inside information? And she goes, you used to love Trump. What the heck? Why are you asking follow-up questions?
Agree that it is a perilous threat because we actually have inside information. So I love when people...
What inside information?
Well, the inside information, Steve, and you know, you used to love Trump, but I got to tell you, I mean, this is...
What? That is a malfunction if I ever saw it. That is an example of her being offended that Steve Doocy dares to ask a follow-up question on Fox News. This is supposed to be a softball interview. What? I'm saying I have inside information. You dare to ask what is the inside information? How dare you? What are you doing? Reporting? What are you conducting an interview? And normally even Steve Doocy is awful on Fox News, but lately, at least, he's been occasionally dropping a little bit of information that is similar to factual information, and it really triggers his co-hosts and it triggers lots of the people he's interviewing. We've seen these moments where he's asking James Comer, okay, but what crimes do you have evidence that Biden committed, or what actual evidence of a connection between Hunter Biden and Joe Biden do you actually have with the business dealings that you're accusing him of being engaged in? And James Comer has that similar, what the heck's going on here? What, you asking me for evidence? Evidence for the crimes? You're supposed to just help me attack him politically. And there you could tell Alina Habba, very confused, discombobulated, that Steve Doocy would ask such a follow-up question. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.